and about the streaming industry, artists, and everything. You know what? I forgot to go live, people. But sorry, introduce yourself.
Ryan McIntyre. I'm a punk rock kid from Ontario. Uh, got fed up with Spotify and made a streaming app. And it's done now. It's out. It's on the Play stores.
Yeah, in the app, we're just speaking about the streaming. People know me about talking about the streaming, the royalties, and this brother just told me a lot of things people don't know. For example, the radio pays how much more than the streaming when you're on the radio?
Last time I
What?
checked, it was like $12 to $14 on social.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a year or two. It might be a little different, but yeah, significantly in the point two of a penny or whatever. That
And then
Spotify.
we're saying YouTube 3,000 streams gives you a million. Well, a million streams, only $3,000. So
Yeah, we worked out that the average low end advertiser, the lowest you'll get is $300 per thousand impression. That's what they pay the companies. So 1,000 times into a million works out 1,000 times. So if you're only getting 3 grand for a million, there's like you should be getting 30 grand for a million.
mm. And someone complained about that. Finally, an industry guy came out, Snoop, which I love what he said. He was saying, is this going on? It's like a travesty. Like no
Nice.
one's get. How do you get paid from it? A billion streams don't even get you $1 million. $1 million. A billion streams.
No, the deeper I get into this, the more it's just bizarre. It doesn't make sense, and no one's really stepped forward to change it. I guess not in Canada, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they try and they get bought out. I don't know what happens, but it's insane.
There's a couple things happening I noticed with all the technology and things online, different companies trying to come up to say that they could do this and they could do that. But like we're talking on the Canadian front, because it's Indie Canada, how you created this app to help artists make more funds for themselves. So what's the difference from, like, for example, Spotify and Apple and your app right now?
We take we give the money like we instead of like having a set rate per stream, like we give all the advertising money to the artist. So if your song plays and there's an ad before it, like you're getting like 85% of the revenue that came in from the ad, more like a co-op than paying them. And the videos they pay a little more because the video ads pay us a little more, right? And then,
Yeah.
or let's say someone buys a subscription, right? And it's like $10 a month, and they only listen to 10 songs, right? Like we catalog what songs they listen to, and we'll take that $10 and we'll split it between those 10 songs. So it'll be like a buck a song in that scenario, right? But the lowest end, I think, like we're coming out of the gate paying 2 cents a stream, and that's
Mhm.
like we have low end because we're nothing. We just started, right? We're not Spotify that has like super high end advertising clients. We got literally like a music store in my hometown. So and
Mhm.
we're able to pay 2 cents a stream, which is insane. So that'll only go up as we get better advertisers and more subscriptions and things like that. But we want to fairly give it to them, like even at the 15% that we take off the top before we pay the artist, like we're still making a shitload of money to do a lot of stuff, right? Like I don't understand why Spotify has like 6,600 employees. They're a $30 billion company,
Mhm.
and paying out like 0.2 cents. It's crazy. I just don't
Yeah,
understand.
it is crazy because right now there's, like what you said. For example, in Ontario, there's 35,000 when it comes to hip hop rappers, and you said there's 25 active bands in Ontario, right? And
Like
out of the
punk
what do you say? Sorry.
rock band. Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of bands. But yeah,
yeah,
my genre there's about 25 that I know of.
25. Oh, see? Yeah. So what's your genre? You would say
Punk
of
rock,
punk
just
rock.
punk
So
rock.
we're gonna get back to that because there's all these different subgenres of like
Yeah,
rock.
yeah.
But right now I find a lot, especially in the hip hop genre, a lot of the young ones especially are not educated in how gonna make money from their art. Like you're saying, shows, they're paying to be on shows. They're just on streaming, like they're not signed up to SOCAN, be it if you don't know about SOCAN or educated, like because they feel they don't need radio. I think that's the main thing. A lot of people feel they don't need any radio at all
Oh no,
nowadays.
you need to get on every speaker that'll have you. Anything. Just get the music out there. Like, don't be what's the word for that? Like, too cool for the radio? Is that the deal? Like, no, get on there, man. Shit, that's the best way to go, really. You get a wider audience sometimes too if you get on the right stations too, right?
Yeah, it's actually true. It's right because I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he's a producer. He's from originally BC, and he was saying like how they claim, like, for example, the hip hop artists in Vancouver, they're the best. And I don't hear that in Ontario. I never heard anybody from Vancouver who's really, spotlighted. And this is an example how the media, like blogs or the internet, could make certain people look big, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's weird. Shouldn't be shitting on anyone, anyways. We're better than the Ontario guys. I hate when people do that. Yeah, why? Why? What makes it better? Like, usually, humble about it. But I don't know. I've only really dealt with mostly Ontario people, so I don't even know.
See, that's what it is. It's probably education, because he educated me and said like, I didn't know that. I see. So when people see stuff, when we see stuff over here, right? We can't be ignorant to think, hmm, right, that it's just this. There's actually people looking at a other way. They're looking at like differently.
BC's far away. It's pretty much like another country. If it was in Europe, there'd be like 8 countries in between us, right? It's like
Yeah,
a
you're right.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
So so the streaming thing now, they're adding all these different streaming sites, like all these different streaming sites. And I try to tell people that you have it on all digital platforms, but people don't overstand. I say overstand that each platform, you have to promote it, or you have to invest in it to really get traction, or somewhere. Like you're on Apple Music, you're on Spotify, you're on Tidal, you're on there's a list. There's like 20 different
okay.
the platforms. Do you promote those platforms, or it's just you're just saying it's on all digital platforms? That's the whole key. I think music has got spread thin, and it lost its quality because of that. What's your opinion on that?
For sure. A lot of those streaming companies failed. I mean, was it Tidal? Was that Jay Z's?
Yeah, Jay-Z's Title.
That failed. That was like one of his only failures, probably. It's oversaturated for sure because everyone kind of wants the next, big Spotify or whatever, because they just watch this company come out of nowhere and become $30 billion company or whatever it is. Just
Yeah,
insane rich. It's a good business plan, but
yeah, but anyone with sense looks does research. They know it's not. They know it's not good.
no. And you just look at the proof. The proof is in the pudding, man. Just look at how many streams you're pulling off of each one, right? Like, I think you
Hmm.
can go on the DistroKid and see a little chart, right?
Yeah,
Which streaming platforms are working good for you. And some work better in different areas of the world too, right? Like, Spotify is not as big in like Northern Europe or whatever, right?
you're right. You're right.
Almost like an Apple Music thing. The market, I don't know, that way. It's tough. The rappers got it tough, worse
I
than
know.
the internet.
I was explaining about even videos, like when people say, okay, you're not making that much money from maybe the YouTube videos, but now I see what DistroKid is doing. People been doing it, but the industry people, but DistroKid now makes you upload your video, so it's on like 20 different, for example, video sites. So
Right.
if you even just make 3,000, because they know that it has come out, people are talking about it on YouTube, you want to make 3,000 on each video site, because it's not just YouTube people watch videos on.
Oh yeah, for sure. YouTube, Twitch, uh, Facebook.
Whole
Facebook
bunch we don't know. Vivo.
Even Facebook's got like ridiculous qualifications before you can monetize your stuff. Like, I think it's like 10,000 people in your group or something, which isn't as bad as YouTube, but I don't know.
I think YouTube is what, 1,000? Is it 1,000?
No, they have like a whole list. Like, they want so many like live minutes in the past month. They want so many views in the past month. It's like an overly confusing list that almost seems intended to confuse people to go, oh, fuck this. I'm not even going to bother with it because
So I'm gonna ask you the average number, because you know more, punk rock band on Spotify, for example, because we see the numbers on there. How, like a local band, right? What has, like, some support? How much I mean, listeners you would see?
oh, next to nothing. It's like their friends, family, girlfriends, the odd. I don't know. Like, I find like the best method if you're going to pick up fans that are going to stay with you is like you got to get out there and and show them. Like if you do a good show, you'll get like 4 or 5 people from that club that night. But it's the numbers are low, really, really low, unless there's seriously big advertising dollars behind it. Like when
Mhm.
Katy Perry puts out a song, like it's a commercial on every single YouTube video you watch. Like it's like millions of dollars go
Mhm.
behind that song before it's even out, right? And then that's why those numbers are super high and inflated. It's all in the marketing, I guess. Like you got to get even big bands if they don't properly market their stuff, then they
Mm.
won't be high either.
Because I seen, for example, now I have a friend who plays in a band, and he's just local. He goes to Detroit. He travels around, but he's local. And he showed me his listeners, and I said, "That's pretty good for a local, band. You got some support there. You got like I think he had like 6,000 listeners. So
That's
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 I said that's
it must be
good.
a good band, man. Yeah, they must be
Well,
good.
he travels, they go to Detroit a lot and different parts of America, and then he comes back here and he has like house parties, but people come out, right, to the bands. So and then I look on some of these hip hop artists and I'm hearing there's a trend of a buying streams or listeners.
Yeah,
What do you
it's
think about that?
like $4 and you can buy like 10,000. It's insane. You, I wouldn't do it just because people can see the numbers. You know what I mean? If you got like, 12,000 views and you got like one comment, then there's something fishy there, right? Like they just don't add up. Or like on Spotify, because you can buy the Spotify views as well or the listens. You'll see like they got like 40,000 listens, but then they got like 12 monthly listeners, right? And that kind of makes you look stupid, I think, like because people see through that shit. Like they're not dumb. Like,
But you know what? Some people are real slick with it. They're real, I have to admit they're slick with it because even on Instagram, I'll give you an example.
yeah.
You have some people with fifth. We know the fake. I know the fake accounts, but the ones who could cover it up, you have 20,000, 30,000 followers, and then in the comment section, there's only like nothing or two. I don't understand. I don't understand. That's similar. That's a similar thing.
Yeah, like, what's the point? What's the benefit of doing that? Really, like inflate your numbers, maybe get booked for a show quicker. I don't know the point. I don't know the end game. Like the
Clout.
end.
They call it clout now. Clout.
That's what I find. Like half the people are in it for. It's just the pictures on Instagram. Like maybe they weren't popular in high school and they weren't happy about it. So now they spend the rest of their lives kind of overcompensating. Like, look at me, guys, I'm fucking cool.
But some people they give them it's a different age to live in. I guess I'm getting older, but they get a pass. Like being fake is actually accepted
It's weird.
now.
That does nothing for me, my real life, though. That's the issue I see. Like buying having inflated YouTube views is not going to pay my car insurance, right? Like there's no real point to it. I don't think like, it's not
Mm.
going to benefit you at all, other than looking cool for the people on your list that you
I
don't even.
think that I think that's what it is. Like YouTube and all these ones, especially like I was saying, one of the major promotion places is Instagram, and a lot of people have been doing that for years. I know they're trying to filter out the system. And same thing with Spotify. There's even a group, page, what actually, they kind of expose fake streams.
Yeah, yeah.
And people don't like that. They don't like that.
Oh,
They don't. Mm-mm.
what's the
They don't.
point? Like those groups too, where it's like share for share and like for like, follow for follow. So what's
Mhm.
the point? Like you're spending mental energy uh, that you should be spending on your art, which will eventually bring in the same
Yeah,
that
you're
you're
right.
doing here for fake. Like take that time and do things properly, and then,
Hmm.
and then it's not fake, and then you'll be able to pay your car insurance if you have to.
I like why you said that. So what's the feedback you've been getting from like your creation, your app? What's the feedback you've been getting?
So far, like it's good. Everybody likes the format and stuff like that. We're just working through a bunch of the bugs and stuff now. It's big and it's complicated. It's a lot of work, and like I think there's like 7,100 compatible devices, so I can't really test them all. So that's the
Hmm.
kind of feedback that I pay the most attention to right now. It's just the little bugs within the app to get it working smooth. 'Cause Spotify's got 6,600 employees. We have two.
Well, this is the thing with Spotify. Like I'm saying, it's handling a global community,
Oh yeah, they're
and
big.
what I mentioned is each country has different. Like our money's different in every country, so we should have a streaming site like your own or app, which could help artists because I know Spotify is not helping, doesn't care about everybody. I mean, local artists, unless you are really doing something to make like everyone around the world know who you are. Maybe they might show attention to you. So the local artists who are from Canada, like, from Canada, Ontario, we need something like what you're putting out right now for people to make money from their
Definitely. That's
art.
that's the most important part for us is get artists paid because then they'll make more art and the whole industry in itself will just grow. Like
Hmm.
basically, it's so discouraging. Like spending all the time and effort to put together songs and music, and you spending your weekends at the studios. You're spending every extra dime you have to record that shit, and then you just nothing. It's very discouraging. Like, why would you go make another album?
Yeah.
And
It's
people
facts.
want.
I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that. What you spend money on videos, you spend money on the studio, you spend money on whatever to try to get people to come to you and listen to your music or go to your shows. And a lot of it is like, to me, not saying it's a waste, you have a passion, but in the industry you're wasting a lot of stuff, right? Because
Yeah,
a lot of people don't promote their campaign before they release a video. You kind of
yeah,
have to treat yourself like the industry. Put money, you have to invest in your promotion, like what you're saying, Google ads and all those stuff. A lot of artists think they just do a video and just release it on YouTube, upload it to Spotify, all these digital platforms. There you go.
yeah. And then a magical A&R guy will descend from the heavens above and give you $1 billion contract. I see it all the time. Like I shoot music videos mostly, and that's like 90% of them I shoot. The artists like think they're gonna get famous from the video, and I'm like, fuck. I feel bad for them knowing it's not gonna happen. It's working towards it. Like you need a catalog, right? You need a bunch of music videos, some live videos, albums, and all that shit. But it's all just building the
Yeah,
catalog, and then go sell yourself.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
It's facts. It's facts. Like right now, uh, the without a campaign, no one's gonna take you serious. That's what
no,
I see. No one will take you serious in the industry because there's, like you said, 35,000 rappers in Ontario. You guys were doing some research, and then there's maybe like what you said, 1,500, and you're in the competition with a lot of people. A
yeah,
lot of people. Now,
yeah.
what makes you stand out? That's what I would say. What's gonna make you stand out from all the rest? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's the big thing. That's what I tell people all the time. Like you got to get out of the box. You got to, especially because they kind of all sound like I don't want to say the
Hmm.
same, but
You
there's
could
only a
say it.
few
You could
really
say it.
stick above, right? And when they stick above, they're really good. So you got to be really good, but that's not even enough too. You got to, I don't know. There's no formula. I don't think it's like half luck, half skill, half drive. I guess.
Yeah. If you all sound the same in any genre, you won't, to me, stick out. If you all sound the same.
No, that's like a lot of people write songs to like what's popular right now. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, that'll go good on the radio right now," but in reality, it's going to be like 4 to 6 months before that is done
Mhm.
and comes out with a video and everything, and that whole thing is going to pass and you're done. So I always tell them just write songs for you and no one else, as if it's going to be like a soundtrack for your funeral. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's just for you, right? And if that day comes where that becomes the popular sound, what you're doing, bam, you're in, right? But you can't
Mhm.
write to what you think is going to be cool or what people are going to think. You got to write what you think, and then that'll make you different than everyone else. I think normally.
And I think a lot of people have to like, especially the young artists, even some older ones, educate themselves about the music business because a lot of them don't like. They like the music; it's fun to do, but the business side, they don't understand it or overstand it because I'm hearing like I heard from other producer that even producing your track, right? If it's not all Canadian coming from here, you're not gonna get all the royal. It's like kind of strange, like, you're
Yeah,
not getting all the royalties. So
Mhm.
it's going to benefit you doing everything as a Canadian artist with Canadian production. You could work with other people, but you're not going to get everything what you want.
Yeah, you'd probably be more likely to get a factor grant with an all Canadian team. I don't know. I did, every time I applied for a factor grant, they don't give it to me.
Yeah, yeah, there's some politics in there.
I've only ever met one person that got a factor grant, and he threw a festival last year with like 180 bands, 3 stages. There's 2,000 people, 3 days camping, and they didn't give him the grant till afterwards, and it was like peanuts too. That
Damn.
that's another company that needs to be. Uh,
Revamped.
yeah, yeah, they're not like Mercules collected a $22,000 grant last year. Like, what the hell
Damn.
did you need a grant
Yeah,
for?
that's true.
That's 22 demos you could have given like
Yeah.
people who needed it. He didn't need that money. That's crazy, but he got it anyways.
Is that a reason a lot of people are going to America? Or they need to go to where the industry is?
I think the only way to get popular in Canada is to get popular in the States. Go down there, get popular, and then come back up. Which we've got to change. We got the population now, and we can have our own entertainment industry now. I think, like,
Hmm.
break away from the States when it comes to music and shit. Because even our bigger Canadian artists, they're signed to like giant American record companies. So even when you're out supporting Canadian, you're still just throwing that money directly into the American economy.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
Because who's the
that
biggest Canadian? Who's the biggest Canadian label like right now?
biggest Canadian artist, like a
No, label. I'd say label, record
oh
label.
Jesus, I don't even know.
See?
They're all American. Yeah. Like I know a few indie labels like Dine Alone and things like that, but they're just small. Like
Mm.
indie. I don't know a real big record company.
Basically none. Basically nothing. 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 That's where it comes back to infrastructure. People gotta either build it or you gotta travel. You gotta leave here.
Exactly. We need an infrastructure, and like
Mm.
getting artists paid. That's a good start because they'll take their money and they'll spend it at the studio. Then studios will be able to get bigger, and then they'll take their money. Just keep the money here, and then we can get our infrastructure built, and then start to.
Well, I think it could start with Indie Canada because I was reading your press release and I like it. Anybody who it just takes people to read, which is education, look into things, look on like what we're saying. Like that's why I have you on here to educate yourself really about these streaming sites. They're not really as good as people think,
Oh, they're just
right?
companies. They're businesses. They're Fortune 5. They have shareholders and stockbroker meetings and it's just rich guys that want the biggest investment that they possibly can get on, or the biggest return they can possibly get on their investments. Right? It's just business.
Well,
Like
it
that.
started 2007. I tell you, I read an article of Apple buying out like the catalogs from
Right.
that time, and once I read that catalog, I said, "Oh no, Apple and all of them are gonna buy every single catalog so they could put it on Instagram and all these, what we have now. You
Right.
could play the music, right? Because they license it, and ever since, the physical copies disappeared. So now the artists don't make money compared to when there was physical copies.
No, like you're good to like print records and sell them because you're
Hmm.
making a lot more money off of one single. Like if you want to support an artist, the best thing to do is definitely buy a record or a CD or a T-shirt or a concert ticket or
Yeah,
whatever.
you're right.
But yeah, all those streaming companies, like they all use the same server, which is owned by Amazon. It's weird.
Oh, wait, wait. That's interesting what you said that. Wait.
Yeah.
All these streaming companies
Mhm.
use a server owned by Amazon. That's
Yeah.
all.
AWS. It's called Amazon Web Services. It's the most reliable server out there. But yeah, they're all run off the same thing. It's
It makes
ridiculous.
sense because Twitch, when you go on Twitch and you're looking in your settings, what does it say? Amazon.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Yeah. I was always wondering why is it Amazon? Why is Amazon
Any
this in
point
the
in time,
settings?
like Apple or Amazon, they could buy up all these companies and probably just turn it into one, right? But you need more uh, businesses within the market to raise it. Like Coke needed Pepsi, right?
Mm.
Pepsi and Coke didn't fight over each other, then people wouldn't have bought as much pop, right?
Mm.
So these companies like within
So
each other.
Amazon, like what you just mentioned, they have their own streaming site and music
They
site now.
have, well, that's what's weird is they have their own site and they sell the server space to direct competition, which is bizarre. The
Hmm.
AWS, a whole set of like pretty much any back end stuff is done through either AWS or Google Firebase, but the big ones are done at AWS. We're on
And
Fire.
then in the America, the main music, I'd say consumer would be iHeartRadio. I mean the provider for like a lot of artists. What people don't know is iHeartRadio. They
I've
have
heard
different
that's the one that plays like real radio stations, right? But they stream it. Is that, or is it like a spot?
streaming. They have it's a radio station, but they have streaming too, like Spotify. They
Right.
put live shows like podcasts, like what I do, on there too.
Yeah.
Um, there's
Wow.
over 200 million listeners daily.
Damn.
So that's mostly America. They listen to iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
iHeartRadio owns a lot of shows, talk shows, live shows, radio stations all over America. So I looked into it. As you look into it, they've been around for from the beginning. They just
Yeah.
transformed their name to iHeartRadio.
I remember when they first started, I was impressed because every radio station I listened to was like, if you want to stream us, go on to iHeartRadio. I was like, holy shit, how did they go around to like, 900 radio stations across the country and got them all to sign up on this thing? I thought that was impressive.
Because
From
before they owned, there were other name. Because I done my research, they owned it from the beginning.
oh,
From the beginning.
okay. So that's
They
how
made-
they did it. That makes sense.
yeah, and television's in there somewhere somehow too.
Yeah.
Television somewhere somehow too. So that's you gave me a gem, I gave you a gem. Yeah, iHeartRadio. If you're an artist and or like someone like a podcaster or someone's doing content, it's good to promote iHeartRadio like
Yeah.
for your stuff because the consumers go there. They're not going as like much to these other ones compared to Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music's getting popular.
Giant number, man. That's a lot of people. Wow.
Yeah,
2 million.
200 million.
I dream
200.
of those numbers. That's crazy.
But
Yeah.
I want people to know about the indie Canada because a lot of Canadian artists, especially the young ones, they're like what you're saying. To me, my opinion, getting robbed. They're getting robbed. Like no one's making any money,
No,
honestly,
not.
from your music.
Someone's making money,
Someone's
but it's
making
not,
money.
it's not the artist. So that's
Oh,
the weird part. It's just some bunch of dudes in suits sitting around drinking brandy and smoking cigars. That's what I picture. And big
exactly. It is. Yeah.
a little monocle on and shit. That's not fair. That's not gonna. We can't do that. We
So
can't.
what's next for you for your creation? Like what you hope to see in the future, the near future?
Well, now we just need more numbers on the app, really. So we're gonna go on tour in the fall, like Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Montreal, Fredericton, Halifax. Basically, what we're doing, we're gonna do a hip hop cipher in each city, right?
Mm,
One producer to write the beat, studio to record it, another producer to mix it down, and then 5 or 6 local guys, and then we're gonna do like an indie night in Canada night. There's one June 6th at the El Macombo that we're sponsoring.
hmm.
Something like that, where like 18 bands are playing, and it's more like a show for not for fans, but for industry people, right?
Yes,
Like
you. Yep.
merch distributors there and like smaller record companies and stuff, more like a networking kind
Yeah.
of thing. And we just kind of show up to a bunch of shows in the area. We're going to sit in each city for a week and just interview people, get to know people, really, and get educated ourselves. Like we need to know the market that we're trying to sell to, right? So
Yeah. So if you when you're down when you guys do that, contact me, link me because that's what we do. We go out to the events. Me and my brother, we support the artists and we promote. This is something
yeah,
what needs to be promoted
it's
everywhere.
it's good to give something to the artist too. Like we're not a Fortune 500 company yet. Like so we don't have like a lot of money to just like pay, but if we can give them a solid interview that they can use on like in their, what do you call that, press kit, right? Or we
Hmm.
do a lot of like live shows too. So like good live videos where we
Hmm.
put up the cinema cameras and get nice audio off the board, and just we give them something for press kit. We actually had a TV show on Rogers here, and
Yeah.
Barry, Alliston, Angus. And the way we had the show set up was it was 8.5 segments with an artist, 8.5 minute commercial, 8.5 minute. But we were able to break those 8.5 minutes up, and it was a digital press kit, like a video press kit. It's the way we formatted it. Did it like an interview live show. So it's always been about getting the artist money at the end of the day, right?
The
And
key.
I got artists that still use those interviews, and that was like 10 years ago, like to this day. So it's definitely it's good. Like if you're going out there and doing interviews, your artists are doing the same thing, probably going, I think this is me. And then when they try to get on a label or onto a show or something like that, then they got a package of shit to let the promoter know who I am. This is what I am. This is who I am.
And whatever we could do to help, just let me know because one of your someone told me about you as an artist, brother. I forgot his name. You know these different nicknames people have. He told
Yeah,
me, and then I contacted you. But respect to him, I'm sorry I don't remember the name, but he told me about you because I was talking about streams, right? About
right.
how no one makes any money from the streams
Yeah.
like the in Canada.
It
And
was
he's saying I do.
probably Devious One. He's the one helping me build it. He's good. I'm doing
Mhm.
like coding techie shit, and he's like, we should put this section in here. That's not working there. Let's do that. So
Yeah,
it's been really good. He's like probably the one person in the world that can work with on this. But yeah, it was probably him because
yeah.
he's usually the ones doing the interviews and stuff too. He's a lot more fluent than me with it. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm supposed to have him on here. I don't know. We're gonna probably 2 weeks from now. I'm gonna be interviewing him with my brother and stuff like that. But yeah, he's a good guy because he was basically saying we Canadian artists can make money, right? But they gotta know how you know to do it. Like besides Spotify, like I'm saying, like besides your app, it would be good if a lot of them get onto SoCan too. Certain artists need that because they complain that they're not getting any money. So if you want to make some money from your shows or you want to make some money, maybe get on the radio because radio recognizes when you're on SoCan.
yeah, radio generally won't play you unless you're on SoCan. Like
That's a,
you need that. And then you register with SoCan, you get that. What's it like the ISDN number or whatever it is?
Mhm.
So it basically gives you a barcode for your
Yep,
song. And that
yep.
pretty much solidifies it. Like no one can steal my song now. That's almost worth it on its own just to get it.
It's just an insurance thing for you, like
Yeah,
especially young artists. Like I know some young artists, their songs got stolen from like American artists. They
yeah.
put it out on SoundCloud, and then I heard somebody do the same song, like basically heard their song and took it.
Ruth, that's holy shit. Yeah,
So you need that, man. But much respect, brother, for coming through and chopping it up with me. Hopefully, we keep in contact and the app, I would like to promote the app to everybody because we got our community, a lot of artists out there which we connect with. And this is something if they know it can benefit them because there's nothing out there right now, and I'm talking for Canadian artists, what's
yeah.
helping them make any sense
No,
or
they all want you to pay money, man. Like it's tough to figure out which ones are legit too, because your inbox just gets full of
oh
scammers.
yeah,
Shit.
tons of them, tons
Yeah,
of them.
yeah. It's hard to like weed out which ones are good. It's a tough one.
You know what? They all come to me too, and I always tell them this. Okay, it's all good what you're saying to me. Could I have like a conference with you? Like, how could I see you face to face?
Yeah, yeah.
And if they can't go face to face, that means something to me. That that just means something to me. Like a red alert, red
Well, for
alert.
sure. If there's a company that wants you to pay for anything to do with your art, it's probably not legit. Like unless it's like a music video or you're paying for studio time or paying
Yeah,
for your masters or whatever. It's probably a scam. If you're paying to do promotion, you shouldn't. Unless it's like an actual publicist company, right?
yeah.
And they
People actually know, and they have something like they're out there. Like
yeah,
you
their
get what I mean?
contact list is very valuable and it's real, right?
Hmm.
They're expensive. Publicists are so expensive. $5,000 a month and things like that. It's
That's
crazy.
it's ridiculous. But yo, you could tell the people where they could connect with you before we come off the spaceship, like everything, all your info. So we could keep this network up.
Yeah. Um, IndieCanada.ca has pretty much everything you need.
That's all they need. All right. So how could the artists get like their stuff on your platform, their art?
I made it easy, and I don't understand. This is another thing that bugs me about Spotify. Is like, why are you paying an annual fee to have the song on the server? It doesn't cost us annual fee. And then why do you got to do it through a third party? Because we set it up. You can do it right through the app. Like you can
Hmm.
upload songs on Android. You can upload your videos. You can manage the songs, like change the release name, update the artwork, and it's just free inside the app. So you just register an account, go from there. It's pretty straightforward. I think Spotify made it overly complicated so they can collect some of that $39.99 that DistroKid takes once a year. It's messed up.
Well, I'm gonna be an example. Most of my stuff, I don't know if I want it to be on these all digital platforms anymore, because of my research. I'd rather be on a platform like what you created, because
Yeah,
Canadian wise, having people, if they're gonna stream it all around the world, it's better for it to be coming here, home, right?
yeah,
Somewhere, some way or some form. Because I done my research, and man, it's just like what we just spoke about. It's you're not. It's just sitting there. It's
yeah.
made. What I'm saying, it's made for industry corporate artists who are signed. That's what it's really meant for. It's an illusion for the independent artists, unless you have a lot of money behind you. That's where
Uh,
I'm getting it.
yeah, like your marketing, like those big artists, like if Classified put out an album or something, I bet his marketing at the very low end is probably $250,000 for a
Hmm.
release. Very low end, like it's got to be massive because, like I said, like when Katy Perry puts out a song or whatever, you'll see it on every commercial, like every streaming service, because they
Hmm.
paid millions of dollars, right? But they pay out, 10 million in advertising, they want 12 million back, right? Or 14 million back or whatever it is. And that's all it is at the top. And like when they sign people, they don't necessarily care how skilled you are. They care how sellable you are to their general market, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's tough for like a punk band. We don't play marketable music. Like you'll never hear like our
Hmm.
songs on the radio because they're just gritty and shitty. So it's like we'll never get signed to a big label, and we never look. We don't have that illusion at all. But in a lot of genres, they have the illusion where like a Magic A&R guy is going to come down from the sky to your jam room.
It happened.
It's just not going to happen. Like any record label that's ever approached me, like or anyone that I know, like they won't sign you until you really don't need them to sign you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You nowadays, like back before the internet, you would get signed and they would promote you. They would build up that core for you, but you have to do that yourself now. You have to get everything where it's sellable, and then they'll take 80% of everything. You
It
won't.
makes sense what you just said there. A lot of people, I heard people say that, but that's a big point. A lot of labels are not looking at you unless you could do for yourself now, kind of like make yourself kind of like attractive to them. Like, oh, this guy he's on something. But if you're just, you could be the best rapper, best singer, best whatever, and you're not really doing anything for yourself. You just done one song, one video, but that's it. You're not active. They don't want that.
No, yeah, they're not going to sign you until you really don't need them, which is weird.
Exactly. That's how we leave it off, brother.
Yeah,
But yo, thanks for coming through the Down to Earth podcast, brother.
thanks for having me, man.
We're at
It's fun.
anytime we could chop it up, because I need someone like you who's educated about the industry when we have other artists. Because like I said, we deal with a lot of these artists. If you're welcome to come on, if
Awesome.
if you're available anytime.
Yeah, it's great. Anytime.
Much respect, brother.
All
Respect.
right. Have a good one.
You too.